The morning sun slipped through the tall windows of Horizon Enterprises, casting soft golden stripes across the polished floors of the corporate office. The building hummed with the quiet rhythm of a new workday. Phones ringing faintly, keyboards clicking, and the low murmur of early meetings. In the heart of downtown Chicago, the 30-story glass tower stood as a beacon of success, home to a company known for its cutting-edge tech solutions. But for Daniel Harper, the CEO, this morning felt different. He wasn't sitting in his corner office on the top floor, reviewing reports or signing off on million-dollar deals. Today, he was someone else entirely. Daniel adjusted the stiff collar of his borrowed maintenance uniform, the name tag reading Dave pinned crookedly to his chest. At 45, with salt and pepper hair and a lean build, he could pass for an ordinary worker. His board had been skeptical when he proposed going undercover among the staff. "You're the CEO, Dan," they'd said. "You don't need to mop floors to understand the company." But Daniel disagreed. Numbers and reports only told half the story. He wanted to know the people who kept Horizon running, the ones who didn't sit in boardrooms. The elevator dinned, and Daniel stepped onto the 12th floor, pushing a cart stacked with cleaning supplies. The office was still waking up. A few early employees sipped coffee at their desks, their faces lit by computer screens. Daniel moved quietly, emptying trash cans and wiping down surfaces. He noticed everything, the way a young woman taped a photo of her kids to her monitor, the way an older man stretched his back with a wince before sitting down. These were the people who made Horizon what it was, and he felt a quiet pride watching them. By mid-morning, Daniel reached the supply closet at the end of the hall. It was a small, dimly lit room tucked behind a copier, filled with shelves of paper towels, cleaning sprays, and spare mop heads. He pushed the door open, expecting to grab a bottle of glass cleaner. Instead, he froze. Curled up on a pile of folded rags in the corner, fast asleep, was a man. His gray jumpsuit matched Daniel's, but it was worn and frayed at the cuffs. A mop rested against the wall beside him, and a half-eaten sandwich sat on a paper towel nearby. The man's face, lined with exhaustion, was peaceful in sleep, his chest rising and falling slowly. Daniel's first instinct was to wake him. Sleeping on the job wasn't exactly in the employee handbook. But something stopped him. The man looked like he hadn't rested in days. His boots were scuffed, his hands calloused. Daniel quietly closed the door and leaned against the wall outside, thinking. Who was this guy? And why was he sleeping in a supply closet? Over the next few days, Daniel kept an eye out. He learned the man's name was Marcus, a janitor who'd been with Horizon for over a decade. Marcus was quiet, always polite, but he kept to himself. He'd nod at coworkers, clean the offices spotlessly, and disappear when his shift ended. Daniel noticed Marcus often stayed late, long after the other maintenance staff had clocked out. Curiosity gnawed at him. He needed to know more. One evening, as the office emptied and the city lights sparkled outside, Daniel found Marcus mopping the break room. The fluorescent lights buzzed softly overhead, and the smell of coffee lingered in the air. Daniel grabbed a rag and started wiping down tables nearby, hoping to strike up a conversation. "Long day, huh?" Daniel said, keeping his tone light. Marcus glanced up, his dark eyes cautious but kind. He was in his late 50s, with short gray hair and a slight stoop to his shoulders. "Yeah," he said, his voice low. "Always is. You been here a while, right?" Daniel asked, trying to sound casual. "Must know this place better than anyone." Marcus gave a small smile, leaning on his mop. 13 years. Seen a lot of faces come and go. They worked in silence for a moment. The only sounds the squeak of the mop and the hum of the vending machine. Daniel wanted to ask about the closet, but didn't know how without sounding accusatory. Instead, he said, "You ever get tired of it? The late nights, I mean." Marcus paused, his hand still on the mop handle. "Tired? Sure. But it's honest work. Keeps the lights on." He hesitated, then added, "For me and my daughter." Daniel nodded, sensing there was more to the story. "You got a daughter, that's nice. How old?" "Ella's 16. Marcus said, his face softening. "Smart as a whip. Wants to be a doctor someday." His voice held a mix of pride and something heavier, like worry. "That's amazing," Daniel said, genuinely impressed. "She must be proud of you, too." Marcus chuckled, but it was a tired sound. "Hope so. I just want her to have a better shot than I did." They finished cleaning the break room, and Marcus headed off to the next floor. Daniel couldn't shake the image of Marcus asleep in the closet. Something wasn't adding up. Why would a man with a teenage daughter, working a steady job, need to sleep at work? The question lingered as Daniel went back to his CEO office that night, the city skyline glowing beyond his desk. He pulled up Marcus's employee file. The records showed a solid worker, no complaints, but nothing about his personal life. Daniel needed answers, but he wanted to respect Marcus's privacy. He decided to keep watching, keep listening. A week later, Daniel got his chance. It was a rainy afternoon, the kind where the clouds hung low and the office felt cozy despite the gray outside. He found Marcus in the supply closet again, and not sleeping this time, but sitting on a crate, eating a sandwich and reading a tattered paperback. Daniel knocked softly on the open door. "Mind if I join you?" he asked, holding up his own lunch, a turkey sandwich from the cafeteria. Marcus looked surprised but nodded. "Sure, Dave, plenty of room." They sat in the cramped closet, the shelves casting shadows around them. Daniel took a bite of his sandwich, then said, "This place is kind of peaceful, isn't it? Quiet." Marcus shrugged. "It's out of the way. Nobody bothers you here." Daniel hesitated, then decided to be honest, or as honest as he could be without revealing his identity. "I saw you sleeping here the other day. Looked like you needed the rest." Marcus's face tightened, and for a moment, Daniel thought he'd overstepped. Then Marcus sighed, setting his book down. "Yeah, sorry about that. It's just things have been tough." "You don't have to explain," Daniel said quickly. "I'm not here to judge." Marcus looked at him, his eyes searching, then seemed to relax. "It's not a big deal. Just temporary. My landlord raised the rent a few months back. Couldn't keep up, so I had to move out. Ella's staying with my sister, but I'm figuring things out." Daniel's heart sank. "You're not staying here all the time, are you?" "Not always," Marcus said, looking down at his sandwich. "I got a friend's couch some nights. But this place is warm, safe, and I can send more money to Ella this way." The words hit Daniel like a punch. Marcus was homeless, or close to it, and still showing up every day to clean the offices of a company worth billions. Daniel thought of his own life. His spacious condo, his car, his vacations. He felt a pang of guilt, but more than that, a need to help. Over the next few days, Daniel wrestled with what to do. He couldn't just write Marcus a check. That would blow his cover and might embarrass Marcus. He needed a way to help that felt natural, respectful. He started by making small gestures, bringing an extra coffee to share, slipping a gift card for a local diner into Marcus's locker with a note that said, "From a friend." Marcus never mentioned the gifts, but Daniel noticed a quiet gratitude in his nods. One evening, Daniel stayed late, pretending to clean the executive floor. He found Marcus in the break room again, this time looking at a photo on his phone. A teenage girl in a school uniform, grinning at the camera. "That's Ella?" Daniel asked. Marcus nodded, his eyes warm. "Yeah, got her report card today." "Straight A's?" "She's got a bright future," Daniel said. "You're doing right by her." Marcus's smile faded slightly, trying to. "But it's hard. Her school's got this program. A summer camp for kids who want to go into medicine. Costs a fortune, but it could get her into a good college. I can't swing it." Daniel's mind raced. He wanted to fix this, not as a CEO throwing money at a problem, but as someone who cared. The next day, he met with the HR director in his real role as CEO. "I want to start a scholarship fund," he said, "for employees' kids. Focus on education, especially for families who need it most." The HR director raised an eyebrow. "This is sudden. Any reason?" "Just something I've been thinking about," Daniel said, keeping his voice steady. "Let's make it anonymous. No names attached." Within a week, the Horizon Future Fund was born. The first recipient was Ella, who received a full scholarship to the summer medical camp. When Marcus heard the news, he came to the supply closet during his break, his hands shaking as he showed Daniel the letter. "I don't know who did this," he said, his voice thick, "but they changed her life." Daniel smiled, his chest tight with emotion. "Sounds like someone saw how hard you work for her." Marcus wiped his eyes, laughing softly. "Yeah, guess so." A month later, Daniel revealed his identity to the staff, explaining his time undercover. There were gasps, laughs, and a few tears. Marcus stood in the back, his expression a mix of surprise and quiet respect. After the meeting, he approached Daniel. "You didn't have to do all that," he said, "but thank you." Daniel shook his hand. "You're the one keeping this place shining, Marcus. I just learned from you." As Daniel returned to his office that evening, the city lights glowing outside, he felt lighter. Horizon wasn't just a company anymore. It was a community. And in that small supply closet, he'd found the heart of it.